The chief of staff for the Tennessee House Speaker, Glen Casada, has resigned following a giant controversy, and House Speaker Glen Casada is probably in a little bit of trouble as well, because it turns out that they were attempting to, or in the very least, the chief of staff was attempting to frame an activist who was out on bail. Now, this activist, Justin Jones, had been advocating for voting rights legislation, as well as removing the bust of Nathan Bedford Forrest from the Tennessee Capitol building, because Forrest was the first grand wizard of the KKK. I think that that's a pretty reasonable request. And so look, what the activist did here was wrong. Jones threw a cup at Casada as he was entering an elevator. Now, it didn't hit him, but he was charged, and he should be charged. You're not allowed to do that, you shouldn't do that. Now, he was out on bail, but the terms of his bail indicated that he was not to come into any contact with the Tennessee House Speaker, Glen Casada. And so what ended up happening was the chief of staff, Cade Cothran, sent a picture of an email to make the case that he had actually got into touch or contact with the House Speaker. But then apparently Justin Jones had receipts, and it turned out that the photo of the email had been doctored. Jones had the original email, the real date was February 25th, which was actually before his arrest. So they doctored the date to make it appear as though the activist got in touch with the Tennessee House Speaker when he in fact had not done so. So they were trying to make it seem like he had violated his bail so he would be placed in jail.
So lots of twists and turns here. So first of all, their hilarious excuse was, well, no, because of security issues, sometimes emails take 6 days to deliver. So you might have sent it on February 25th, but we might have received it many days later and after his sentencing.
Right.
Yeah, emails usually take 6 days to deliver. Have you ever used email? He's like, oh, security issues at the Capitol. Sure. They're like, well, why didn't you want to meet with the guy in the first place, given that these appear to be legitimate issues? They said, oh, it's because he misspelled the word Capitol in his email, which, by the way, of course, he didn't. And really, that's why you don't want to talk about whether there should be, whether we should be commemorating the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Now, like, it's just the most important issue, other than the forgery. Okay.
I know, there's more. The story's not even done yet.
Yes, so let's go to that.
So then, through an investigation, it was revealed that the Tennessee House Speaker had exchanged some pretty racist messages with his chief of staff. Provided this image to Glen Casada, chief of staff, to give him a chance to respond. He has not responded.
He'd called Jameis Winston, who's the quarterback for the Buccaneers, a thug N-word, okay? And he didn't write N-word. And of course, now the House Speaker turns around and goes, I've never known him to say anything racist. Well, how about that?
Yeah.
That's knowing him to say something deeply racist.
He also called black people idiots, which is evident in the next graphic where you see the conversation.
So the quote is, quote, black people are idiots. So that's not that controversial in terms of figuring out whether he didn't like black people or thought poorly of them.
Let me give you more though. He also continues to write, and so is anyone that loves Common Core, it's killing our children. Like the conversations, it's just so clear that they're not good guys.
Yeah, well, the representative turns around, the speaker does, and he says that, quote, I've known Cade Cothran for nearly a decade, and I've never known him to act in a manner in which these emails and texts falsely portray him. Wait, are they his texts? Yes. So how are they falsely portraying him that way? And you've never known him to act that way, except when he called someone a thug N-word and said black people are idiots. Except for that, he said, I've never seen, this is again, Casada, the speaker, saying, I've never seen any kind of racist or bigoted action out of him. So is that kind of language not racist or bigoted? Is that totally kosher? So they're amazing. They're like, I don't care. I don't care that my chief of staff commits forgery. I don't care that he hates black people. I don't care that he doesn't give a damn about celebrating. In fact, he wants to celebrate the Grand Wizard of the KKK so much that we're doing this aggressive action to falsely imprison, and because the original throwing the cup incident we already talked about. But if he violates the order not to communicate with them, which is the forgery part, he would go to prison for a longer period of time. To falsely imprison this activist because he dared to challenge the Grand Wizard of the KKK and ask for voting rights. Now you're telling me you can't decide who the good guys and the bad guys are? Really?
Yeah.
If you're still having trouble figuring it out, maybe you are one of the bad guys.
The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.